There's a voice in your head that sounds like you, but it's not. It's every instruction you received as a child, every correction, every you should. Thousands of voices compressed into one, and you've been following orders your entire life. Ramakant Maharaj tells the story. A lion cub raised among sheep. It grows up bleeding, eating grass, afraid of dogs. It never questions. This is just who I am. Until one day, another lion appears, and something is recognized. Not learned, recognized. You've been living the same way, not as yourself, but as a collection of concepts about yourself. Ideas planted so early you forgot they were planted at all. The good person, the anxious one, the one who needs to fix themselves, the seeker. These aren't you. They're tenants occupying space that was never theirs. Ramakant, direct disciple of Nisargadatta Maharaj, points to what happens when you try to reclaim it. The moment you try to reclaim what was always yours, those tenants don't leave quietly. They fight. They rebel. Old emotions resurface. Patterns you thought were resolved return. A restlessness you can't name. Not because something's wrong with your practice, but because something is being evicted. And the strangest part? The one trying to evict them is also a tenant. Today, we allow Ramakant's teaching to meet what actually happens when you stop following orders. Ramakant Maharaj taught for decades in Nashik, receiving seekers who traveled from everywhere to sit with the man who carried Nisargadatta's lineage, but spoke with a different precision. He would say, "You are not broken, you just forgot." He would say, "You are not broken, you just forgot." He returns to that image, a lion raised among sheep. It bleats, eats grass, runs from dogs. Years of living this way become identity itself. You are like this lion. You forgot your identity. It's not your fault. Since childhood, thousands of concepts were imprinted. We are trying to live within the circle of these concepts. Not your fault. And this distinction matters more than it seems. You didn't choose the first thoughts that shaped you, the first beliefs about who you are, what you're worth, whether you're acceptable as you are. They were installed before you had the capacity to question them. Now they run automatically. The inner critic, the one always monitoring, the voice that says, "You're failing at being present, at being spiritual, at being enough." Ramakant calls these concepts conditioning, psychological patterns so old they feel like self. And then he points to what happens when you finally question them. Suppose you own a building with many tenants living there. You want to reclaim the space. When you tell them it's time to leave, they don't go quietly. They've been there for years. They have rights, they say. They mistreat you for asking. The same thing happens inside. There are concepts that have occupied you since childhood, and the moment spiritual practice becomes real, not theoretical, but real, those concepts recognize they're being challenged. They don't dissolve peacefully. You feel it. Tightness in the chest. The same argument replaying in your mind for the third day. Restlessness with no clear source. Emotions surfacing that have nothing to do with what's happening now. You expected practice to bring calm. Instead, it brought noise. At the beginning, there will certainly be a struggle. Mind, ego, intellect. Many concepts rebel against you. This is a cleaning process. A cleaning process, not a spiritual crisis, not evidence you're doing something wrong. Just what happens when the automatic is finally seen. So you do what seems logical when internal noise increases. You try to manage it, control it, watch it without getting involved. You sit, eyes closed. You notice thoughts appearing, thinking. You label them, planning, worrying. You return to the breath. You drift. You notice the drift. You bring yourself back, and there's a sense that this is working. You're becoming the observer, the one who sees thoughts, but isn't caught by them, the witness standing back from the chaos. Except there's a subtle tension in all of this, a monitoring, a constant checking. Am I present now? Am I watching correctly? Did I get distracted again? And slowly, something becomes unavoidable. That voice doing all the monitoring is also thought. The controller is part of what needs to be controlled. The observer trying to step back from the noise is noise. Ramakant points to this with uncomfortable precision. Don't fight with your thoughts. Don't fight with your mind. The mind means flow of thoughts. If you fight with thoughts, who is fighting? Who is fighting? The question lands differently when you're actually sitting there. When you feel the exhaustion of constantly trying to remain aware, the subtle strain of observing without attachment, the effort of effortlessness, there's a voice that says, "Be here now." Immediately, another notices, "Am I here correctly?" And then a third, "Why is there still commentary?" Every time you think you've found solid ground, the witness, the awareness, the presence, another layer appears behind it, watching that one, commenting on that one. Ramakant says something that sounds encouraging at first. Until now, mind was dictating to you. Do this. Do that. Now you are dictating to the mind. You are the master of thoughts. Master of thoughts. But even this, the idea of mastery, of being the one in control, can become another position to occupy, another identity, the spiritual one, the aware one, the one who has seen through it all. Different tenant, same building. Ramakant uses a specific image. Meditation is like fire covered by ashes. Through meditation, you are removing the ashes, removing concepts based on the body. You're not building something new, not cultivating awareness, not creating presence, just removing what always covered what was already here. But the question remains, who removes the ashes? If the one meditating is also a concept, if the one dissolving identification is itself identification, then what? Mind, ego, intellect, they are only functional organs. They are not bad, but we are giving too much importance to mind, ego, intellect, functional organs, tools that appear and function, not enemies to destroy, not obstacles to transcend, but also not you. And if the observer isn't you, if the controller isn't you, if even the witness is just another appearance, then what remains? Not a better version of the one who started this, not a purified self, not an awakened witness standing at a safe distance. The mind wants to know what that is, wants to capture it, define it, turn it into the next thing to achieve. And this wanting to know, this movement to grasp, is what keeps it unseen. The tenants keep changing clothes. Seeker becomes meditator. Meditator becomes observer. Observer becomes witness. Witness becomes awareness. All of them still tenants. And beneath all of them, something that was never any of them, not waiting to be found, already here. When there's finally no one left looking, the struggle to understand what remains after all positions collapse is just another position. Ramakant insists on something that sounds too simple. You already are what you're searching for, not as an idea, not as the next realization, just as what's here when you stop trying to locate yourself. The thoughts continue. The internal commentary remains. Old patterns keep running, but something sees them appearing without needing to be them, without needing to fix them, without needing to become the one who has transcended them. The tenants might keep showing up, old voices offering to help, to manage, to finally get you there. And when they do, the question isn't how to remove them perfectly. The question is, who's listening? Not the one trying to evict them, not the observer watching them rebel, not even the witness standing back from it all. Just what's here. When there's no one left claiming ownership, Ramakant called this conviction, not intellectual understanding, conviction that appears when you stop negotiating with voices that were never true. If something here pointed to what you already know but keep forgetting, stay with us, not to accumulate more understanding, but to stop forgetting what was never absent. What's your experience with this? The voice monitoring your practice, the one trying to remain present. Does it feel like you, or like something claiming to be you? Leave it below. And if this touched something that recognizes itself, there are other pointings where this came from. What if there was never anyone meditating? What if you are where meditation appears?